Welcome to this week's QPR Preview Show. And again, we've got an up and down performance to look back on before we preview the home match with Swansea. We'll look ahead to that one shortly. But first, the 2-2 draw with Reading. We've talked pretty much every week about QPR's performances fluctuating from game to game. Well, we got that within one game against Reading, 2-0 down at half-time. We fought back for what was a deserved point. And personally, with those who thought we were probably unlucky to be 2-0 down at half-time, we weren't that bad in the first half. But there was still such a difference in the second half, the increased intensity, more men in the box. What did you make of it all, Dave?
Yeah, first half, it was. I didn't think we played well first half. We weren't as bad as we had been recently, but I didn't think it was good. We were just so slow and lethargic on the ball. I thought there was one instance in the first half where Laird got the ball and he had space to run into, but he kind of held on to it for a bit, passed sideways and then back to him. And then like Reading had 6-7 players behind the ball. And you're like, well, we're not going to get anywhere now. So then we're having to make 20 passes to get anywhere. And the 2 goals we conceded, blimey. I know Jeff Hendrick's not the best player in the world, but you can't give someone that much space. Just have a shot, mate. Off you go. And the second goal, no one marking him as well. It was, it wasn't a good, positive atmosphere at half time on Saturday. There was a few chances of like sack the ball, and it was getting quite nasty during the second half. So it was a good job we turned it around, really.
Yeah, good timing. The second goal, Senny Dieng as well, he gave it the full David Marshall treatment, didn't he? Letting it go through his hands a little bit. Laird's a good one to point out, though, because in the second half, he was electric again, back to like the comparisons with Kyle Walker, wasn't he? Absolutely bombing past people. And you just think, why don't you just do that all the time? I don't understand how teams can play so differently. It's just so strange, aren't we, at the moment?
Yeah, there was so much more positive second half, pushing forward all the time. And we've been saying it the last few weeks, just getting people in the box. It just caused so much panic, especially when Lowe come on. When you see the second goal compared to what we've seen recently, Lumley makes a good save. We've got 3 players there ready to follow up and tap it in. We haven't seen that many players in the box for about 6 months at QPR. You need to be doing that more regularly, and it was so much better second half. There was more urgency. They're unlucky not to win it in the end. We had chances to win it. It was just so much better second half. You need to see a bit more of that in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I thought we were going to nick it 3-2, but we just ran out of time, didn't we? And we're still 12th. It's all right, but for the first time, it does feel like we're slipping away a little bit. I know it was like I say, we're still 12th, but for the first time, we're 4 points off the top 6. There's a few teams above us that are in much better form, obviously, than what we are. Are you still harbouring hopes of the top 6, or is the end of this season now about more trying to find some consistency like we're talking about?
Well, at half time on Saturday, I was worried about staying up, let alone the playoffs. But I think we've got a big month coming up in February. There's a lot of games in there in February. And there's a lot of points to be won. So, the season could still go either way. I'm hopeful that Saturday's second half is going to kick them on a little bit. It was so much better second half. And it wasn't rocket science what they did second half. It was just getting people forward, playing a lot quicker, being a bit more positive. And, this league's not amazing. There's 2 or 3 very good sides in it. The rest are much of a muchness. So it could go either way of us, to be honest. We're quite capable of going on a little run. I'm hopeful we will. But we could easily go the other way as well.
Yeah, it's for me, there's just nothing really in our form to suggest we're going to be anything other than mid-table. But and we keep thinking it's going to be a turning point, and it never is. We thought it at Preston, we thought after Sheffield United, and we never seem to be able to keep it going. Maybe we can do it now as we look ahead to Swansea. We put up a stat this week that it's the first time since December 2020 that QPR have drawn 2 league games in a row. And the last time it happened, we played Swansea at home in the next game and we lost. So let's see if we can be different this time. For the second week in a row as well, we play a team right next to us in the league table. They've had struggles for form recently, a bit like QPR. For QPR, it's 1 win in the last 11 in the league, but it's only 2 in 11 for Swansea. In our head-to-head, it's never really a fixture to get the pulses racing. In the last 6 meetings, only one of the teams has managed to score. There's only been 5 goals in those games. And I've personally always found Swansea a hard watch, a boring team. But a lot of their recent matches have been 2-2, 3-1. There was a 3-3. Have they opened up a bit and become a bit more attacking maybe since we last played them?
They couldn't get much more defensive, could they, after last year? Blimey. That 0-0 last year was one of the most boring games I've ever seen. But Yeah, they are a bit better this year. I thought they played well against their place earlier in the season, a bit more positive. And they had a great result at Sunderland last week, didn't they? When they beat Watford as well recently. You know, they're a decent side. Obviously they like to keep the ball a lot and very possession based. So we're gonna have to be patient on Saturday. We're not gonna have as much of the ball as we normally do, but like most of the division, they're a beatable team. I think if we're at our best, we can give them a good game and beat them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they played in the FA Cup in midweek as well, and it went to
Yeah.
extra time, and then they lost. Do you think that could do us any favours? Because if it was the other way around, and that was us having gone 120 minutes in midweek, we'd be worried about it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. Certain. I did see that last night. I was quite pleased with extra time. Same, they couldn't play another hour on top as well. But yeah, it might have an impact. I don't know how many their first team actually played last night. I didn't see what their team was, but it might have an impact. But then they're not a team that runs around and chases a lot. They shouldn't use up that much energy. They keep the ball a lot and conserve energy. So you'd think it wouldn't have a massive impact on them.
Yeah, I mean, as moving on as well, we had, of course, last week Jeff Hendrick scoring that brace against us, as you mentioned. Do you have fear about Ryan Manning now looming over us this week?
Yeah. I'm sure he's going to want to do well. He gets a lot of stick when we play him. I quite liked Manning when he was here, but the way he left wasn't the best, was it? So I imagine he's going to get a lot of stick, and he's quite capable, isn't he? When he turns it on, he can score from long range. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't come back to haunt us.
Every time I see Swansea, he always seems to be having quite an impressive performance. He's just so good down that left-hand side. It is a shame we never kept him, but looks like he's about to do the same to Swansea as he did to us, though, isn't it, with his
Exactly. Yeah.
contract? QPR then, obviously we're at home, and our home form has been terrible by and large in recent months. We haven't won at home since October. What's going wrong at home? Because every manager always starts, don't they, by saying Loftus Road can help so much. It's going to be a fortress, but we're really struggling at home, aren't we?
I think we have all season really. There's not been that many like impressive home performances. I think back to Hull early on where we won and the Cardiff win, but apart from that, we've not looked that great at home all season. I mean, we've hardly ever scored any goals from the loft this year, have we? Yeah, it certainly needs to change. I think that's something Critchley needs to do to get everyone on side. I don't think it's all his fault that he's had a difficult start. I think he starts quite similar to what Beale had actually, but he certainly needs a home win and soon. You can't keep going on this run's been going a long time now without a home win, isn't it? You need to get one soon because the pressure's going to be on.
Yeah, you're right as well about saying about from the start of the season, because obviously there was Blackpool at home we lost, didn't we? The Rotherham was a draw. We just don't seem to get any, or we talk about it again, consistency. There's just
Yeah,
no consistency at home. And it's a shame we couldn't get that last result against Sheffield United over the line, because it would have been the monkey off the bat, wouldn't it?
yeah.
Just, it must start to play on the minds when it's nearly going to be like 3 months since they've won at home soon. So hopefully, again, this can be the start of that. This is probably an easy question to answer, but Jamal Lowe, does he have to start for you? But if he does, who does he replace?
I'd like to see him start. I was quite impressed with him when he came on last week. He really helped change the game. He looked a class above what we've got. It's it's hard to know who he comes in from. I assume it's going to be Willock if he comes in. Willock just looks so out of form at the minute. He was poor again at Reading, so it'll probably be in for him. Not really sure who else out of the front line you drop really. I think Dykes was okay at the weekend again. And you kind of want him like Lowe to play off him a little bit, wouldn't you? I thought they linked quite well together at the weekend, and Roberts got 2 goals, so probably Willock if he comes in. But that's not going to help Willock, is it? Because he needs to get himself back in form sooner. He's not going to get in form down the bench, is he?
He's the logical answer, isn't he? But it's hard to believe we're actually saying it. And it's
Yeah,
again, it's one of those only at QPR things. How can he? We said it last week. How can he go from like almost like Tarat levels of unplayable to now we're saying he should be the one who gets dropped? But he doesn't actually help either with the. He doesn't. He's not a player who plays with intensity, is he? And he wants the forward line to press. We said it last week again. Willock, he's not going to do that. So in some ways, he is the one who should drop out. It'll be interesting to see what he does, because I presume Lowe, now he's had a week of training, he's played some minutes, he should be starting. Roberts as well, I mean, again, out of nowhere for him, we talk about ups and downs. Suddenly, I think most people at half-time probably slagging him off, then all of a sudden 2 goals. And the first one in particular showed the class that he can possess. That was a top quality finish. He wouldn't have been out of place at the World Cup or something. But it just makes him one of those infuriating players, doesn't it? Because you think if you can do that, do it all the time.
Yeah, he is so frustrating because, like, he just doesn't get in the box enough for me. He got in the box against Reading, he scored 2 goals. Too often he'll do something, he'll play a nice pass or he'll beat someone and do something, and then just stand and admire it. It's like, just, you're a forward, it's not rocket science. Get yourself in and around the box a few bit more. Try and have a few more shots. Maybe those goals will increase confidence a bit for him because, he hasn't scored many this season. In his second half, like the whole team, he was a lot better at the weekend. He wasn't something I expected because I thought he's been poor for quite a while now. It was a massive improvement.
Yeah, again, fingers crossed he can just keep it going, because maybe he's the type of player where if he can get goals in back-to-back games, then he can go on a streak or something like that. We have to mention Stefan Johansson because rumours are he's getting very close to a comeback, although they've been saying that it feels like forever now. And it's obvious we still need him back. The question with him really is, with the formation we've been playing, where do you see him coming back into the shape, and who does he replace? Because when he was playing early in the season, obviously it was as part of a 3. Now it only looks like it's a 2 defensively. Can't see him taking any of the forward positions. Where does he come back in?
Yeah, it's hard to see. I assume he'll come in for Tim if they're going to carry on playing a 2, but I do think we're better with a 3 in midfield. I think he gets the best out of all of our midfield players doing that. But now they've brought Lowe in as well. Like you're saying, it's difficult to know where he fits in. I mean, if he's fit though, he's surely got to be playing. We have missed him. We do need that sort of like leader on the pitch, and he's very good at pressing and winning the ball back, which is something we're going to have to do a lot against Swansea at the weekend. I think maybe with the weekend, if he's fit, start him for an hour and then bring Tim on for the last half hour, see how that goes. But I mean, who knows how fit he is? They said he was out for about a week, and we haven't seen him for months, have we? So who knows?
Yeah, it'd be good just to get him back on the pitch, like you say, maybe for half an hour. He can be good impact, couldn't he? Or the other way around, if it has to be Tim coming on. You got me saying Tim now.
Yeah.
Another player coming back is Clark Salter. He was back on the bench against Reading. Do you think he could return? Because the defence has been shaky, hasn't it? Dickey and Dunn isn't exactly a flourishing partnership right now.
Yeah, it could be a possibility. They didn't look that great at the back again at the weekend. Again, they got better second half, but Reading really dropped off and hardly attacked second half, so couldn't really judge the defence on that. But yeah, if he's fit, maybe coming on. I do think he gives us more options going forward with the ball. A bit like Barbe last year, he can play those diagonals and like get you up the pitch a bit quicker than we are at the minute. I assume he'd probably come in for Dickey, I suppose, because I think his form's been a bit dodgy lately. It's a shame, he looked such a good player last year, but he's like Willock. He's kind of fallen off a cliff the last 6 months, hasn't he?
Yeah, God, yeah. It's one of those where he gone from someone who probably was touting as like could be moving on, even linking with Newcastle, I think, wasn't he, this time last year? And now you wouldn't be linked with anyone, would he? Unfortunately. Final predictions though: will this fixture break the QPR Swansea mould of being a 1-0 or a 0-0? Do you think?
I think it might be another draw. To be honest, I mean, like Swansea are very good at keeping the ball. They're in good form. I think it'd be a difficult one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another draw. It's important though to just don't lose. If we got to pick up a couple of draws, try and steady ourselves a little bit, and then try and hit form like towards the end of the season. We can't keep losing, especially at home. So I reckon a draw.
Yeah, I was about to say I think it's important not to lose in front of the home crowd again. The fact the club need the fans on board, and it's becoming a hard sell at the moment, I think, for a few people. I just think if we can get that intensity that we crave so much, and we got it in the second half against Reading, we had it against Sheffield United, we're going to cause Swansea problems with the way they play out from the back, but we just need to be at it from the first minute. I think I go with the draw as well, though, just because of the history of the fixtures. Come on, though, we do need a win. Fingers crossed this can be the turning point, although I do feel like I say that every single week now. Of course, then we'll be on the trip to Hull next week. We'll be back to preview that. Join us again then. Thank you for watching, and come on, you R's.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.